Hello, friends! What is up, my dudes? Welcome to my very first episode of my music show, Fuck, Marry, Music. I'm so fucking excited. Anyone that's talked to me for more than like 5 minutes knows that I'm a super music nerd, and I'm always drilling people about their connections to music and trying to figure out the different genres that people like. I'm really interested in how people classify music into genres because it seems to be different for everyone. I was actually in Madame Hand's chat. I was doing my usual music chat and came up with this idea for the show. DEI0NSANDALS very graciously offered to be my first guest. So here we are, and we did a little bit of talking beforehand, but I don't know a lot about his musical background. I'm really just interested to get people's different perspectives, regardless of whether or not you're a musician, how much you're involved with music, how much you think you know about music. Doesn't really matter. I just want to know why. Like, why do you like it? Why are we all so emotionally connected to it? So, thank you. Thank you for watching, and thank you for being here. And I'm so excited to introduce my first guest, Dion motherfucking Sandals. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for being my first guest. I'm so excited to talk to you about punk rock, and welcome to Fuck, Marry, Music, my friend.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Yes.
This is the first time I've ever been on stream by myself. Usually I'm co-streaming with the wife, just tag teaming.
Right. And thank you, Madame Hands, for helping me get this together. I was just informed that DEI0NSANDALS got his septum pierced today. So, if you if you see a stream of blood just leaking out, don't be alarmed. It's not a medical condition. It's okay. What's a show without a little blood, sweat, and tears? You know, I'm gonna bring the tears and the sweat, so somebody had to bring the blood. You got it here.
A lot of it, yep.
Love that. And you said it was an early birthday present. Are you a Sagittarius?
I am.
Oh my God! No wonder I like you. This is great. And it is a glorious mustache. I'm glad that we're highlighting that in chat because it's an important distinction.
Been working on it.
I mean, slaying. Stream of blood and squealing. Yes, that's, and we're talking about punk rock, so blood and squealing is part of the territory. So I think we're ready to go. What's he hiding with that stash? I don't know. The stash has lots of secrets, but
never know.
You gotta have a special password to unlock the stash secrets. You know what I'm saying? Without further ado, I'm so excited. I've been working on these questions. I tried to be really thoughtful about them. It's an air filter. That's so good.
I have been breathing better. I've noticed.
So when I say I really don't know much about your musical background, though I did talk to Madame a little bit, I really don't know much about you in terms of your relationship to music or at all. So I first just want to ask you, what role music's played in your life and why it is that you feel connected to it. You've told me off stream that you feel like listening to music is your greatest passion. So I'm wondering why, what's brought you to that?
Started really young, I'll have to say. Like, I remember being 4 or 5 years old and just feeling it when I was listening to, like, Bad to the Bone by George Thorogood and the Destroyers.
George Thorogood, let's go!
Huge Michael Jackson fan when I was a little kid.
Hell yeah.
And like, as I got older, it became like an escape, your angsty teenage years.
So emotional connection, you feel?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, music is, like, some people cry during movies. Music can bring me to tears so easily. For sure.
I see the bad. Hi, you're welcome.
Bad.
Bad to the bone. I broke 1,000. My dad would be so proud to hear you say that. Hi, Wolfie.
My jam.
Yeah, dude. I mean, and also, like, I remember my dad was like a Harley Davidson riding, muscle car driving, real like American hero type guy. And
Oh, bad, so to
yeah,
speak.
he was bad to the bone, dude. He was bad to the bone. It was all, I mean, my name's Layla. I was named after a classic rock song, an epic classic
Yeah.
rock song, So I love that you said that. So while we're on the subject, are you a musician?
I'm not a musician. I've dabbled in trying. I don't have the attention span or the discipline to sit and try to learn an instrument. I've
I love
tried a
that.
handful of times.
I love that. Just call a spade a spade. You know, that's what I'm talking about. And
That's what it is.
which makes it all the more interesting to me because there are people like you who I call them music enthusiasts who are so like deeply connected to music but without that like instrument association, It's not because you had to put in the hours learning how to do it. It's just because you feel connected to it, right?
For sure. Like when I'm trying to tell somebody why I like a song musically, I can't really give you a good explanation based on theory or anything like that, but I can tell
Right.
you, I know what I like.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah,
It sounds good, and which is such an interesting conversation to have as well, because as I've matured as a musician, I have these conversations all the time with other musicians about how understanding music theory and knowing so much about music can sometimes really like hinder the way that your ability to enjoy it, because you get so wrapped up in like, oh, what is that? Like, did they change keys there? Was that a modulation? Oh my god, was that a secondary dominant? And it's like, bro, just listen to the fucking song. You like it, right? Like, do you still like it? It doesn't sound like you do. So
for real.
I think that it doesn't matter. And also musicians that are like self-taught by ear, without really understanding music theory, are some of the most profound musicians.
Oh yeah,
And they couldn't describe to you what they're doing either, So
for sure.
I love that.
That blows my mind that they're
Right?
able, with no background in theory, just pick it up and just
Exactly.
kill it.
Exactly. And I envy those musicians so much because I'm one of those that's like, just like McBreth just said, overanalyzing it and spoiling it. And like, you get lost in the sauce a little bit there where like, you'll be writing something that's like a groove. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, but where does it go now? And you get caught up in the technical details that really don't fucking matter. Just find something that sounds good, Um, so as a non-musician, have you been around musicians in your friends and family a lot?
Yeah, I mean the wife plays bass.
Right.
Um,
Hell yeah, madame.
Family wise, I didn't really grow up around many musicians.
Really?
Friends, like as I got into high school, I had a ton of friends who were musicians
Mm.
that were in punk bands and ska bands and metal bands. That
Hmm.
was where I really got introduced more to actual musicians.
Okay. Interesting, because I was assuming that, and I should never do anything so stupid like that. That you've been exposed to it within your family, or someone close to you was kind of like dragging you along for the ride or something like that. But that's
I
not the
I had
case.
a grandpa who played guitar in like a honky tonk band. When I was really young,
Yeah, that's
I
cool.
would go on stage. I had a little guitar, and they would let me like strum and be on stage with them while they played at the VFW.
Oh
But
my
like that was
god,
early
you're a
childhood. It
natural
didn't.
performer.
Yeah,
They knew you were a front man. I love that. That's so
a little
fun.
cowboy hat, my bolo tie.
Damn it, madame. That's what I needed when I asked you for some intel. I needed a picture of the bolo tie and the top hat.
It
Well, a cowboy hat.
exists.
That's
It actually there are pictures of me in like baby modeling competitions wearing bolo tie, western shirt, mullet,
yes.
killing it.
We need that. We need that. You know what, madame? You drop it in the Discord later, please. I need it. You need to find it. You don't have it? Oh, this is a crime against humanity. Wow.
My mama's got that one. My mom's got that in the photo
In the
album.
vault.
Yeah.
Okay. So, would you say that any musicians have inspired you? Not, I mean, obviously you haven't been around a lot. Besides, you said it was your uncle, right? Um, but, was it your grandfather?
Yeah.
Your grandfather. Have there been any musicians that you've noticed from when you were younger that have inspired you?
I mean, all my friends that played, I always had a lot of respect for anybody who could get up on stage and put themselves out there, whether they were good or not. Like just just doing it, not being afraid to get up on stage and perform.
That's the
I
tea.
don't know that I could ever have that ability to just hop up on stage and like it's such a vulnerable place to
It
put yourself
is.
in.
It is. And that's like, that's kind of the beauty and the downfall of it all, is like musicians have this like outlet and ability to be so vulnerable, but you really know how naked they are about their feelings, and it is very I just feel like you're leaving your weak spots open, and at the same time, yeah, like if you're not the type of person that wants to be in the spotlight and jump up on stage and rile up a crowd or like manage people's experience, like then it's not fucking for you, but people that do it, like they fucking love it, like just like thrive in it. They become like a different person on stage.
Yeah,
So
for sure. I've met musicians off stage before shows, and they are totally different than the
yes,
persona that they have on stage. It's
yes,
crazy.
that is crazy. It's literally like Jekyll and Hyde shit. It's like,
Hmm.
who the fuck is that guy? Kind of like you said, we are all introduced to music at some point, usually very young. You already said like your earliest memories are of like George Thorogood and things like that. But I feel that people tend to fall off at some point with music, like maybe it's like your parents made you take piano lessons when you were young or whatever, and then you just go off on your own. What about music has kept you interested in it, or why do you keep coming back to it?
There's just so much of it. Like
Yeah.
I know I'll never be able to listen to everything, but I'm gonna try.
I love that.
There's so many genres that just and so many artists within every genre, and I'm
Right.
always finding new stuff that I never knew I would have liked, and it just
Dude.
keeps me going. Like I haven't met a genre that I can't find something in that I can enjoy.
Period.
Like not one,
Mhm.
maybe one, but
Maybe one. Oh, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna
yeah,
get to that.
saving it.
I love that, and especially like when you have appreciation for old music, you can kind of like fall into that purist mentality of like, what the fuck are these kids listening to these days?
Absolutely.
So to be able to still find something in new music that, like that there's artists out there that are still piquing your interest. Which artists are newer that you are interested in right now?
I mean, off the top, the kind of underground country music scene right now is phenomenal.
Really?
Like these kids are they're doing what I got to grow up listening to with like my grandparents. They're bringing it back. They're like, "No, we don't want this pop country with 808s and rap beats.
Right.
We're going to take it back bare bones to the old school and just it's so raw
Right.
and great and they're killing it.
That's
Love it.
so interesting to me. Oh, I love where this is going already. It's kind of like how like trends and fads kind of do this like coming back around kind of thing,
For sure. Yeah.
where if music kind of does the same thing where you can point back to like motifs, if you will, or just like little things that have already been done in older genres. I see it with funk music all the time. Like you look at what like Anderson Paak and Bruno Mars are doing with funk. It's like, haven't we been
Love it.
here before? But it's so fucking fresh and it's so
Yeah.
cool. Like it's
It's like
so dope.
I love listening to that old music, but I've listened to it so many times. I would love to hear a fresh take with a fresh set of eyes and
Mm-hmm.
lyrics that are today. It's great. I love it.
Right. Yeah, same. Same page. Okay. We're gonna get into some of the fun stuff now. What's the best live show you've ever been to?
Um, Punk show.
A punk show? Okay.
Uh, the folk punk band called Against Me.
Yes!
They are from Gainesville, Florida.
W! They are! Yes!
I saw them back, let's say 2004, 2005. It was my first like
Go off.
big punk band. Like I'd been to a lot of local stuff, but the energy is just unmatched. I'm pretty sure I got knocked unconscious at one point. Like
That's punk rock, baby! That's fucking
it was
punk
great.
rock!
Just sweaty kids going crazy. Every band that played that night was just on.
No way. Who else played? Do you remember?
Great. It was just a bunch of like nobodies that I'd never heard of before.
It's the best.
I remember
isn't it?
one was like an all-female punk band called the Soviets.
No shit.
Um, and really that's the only one I remember their name, but I just Against Me was so good.
So okay, so that's so interesting to me, and I fucking love that you picked Against Me because that is one of my favorite punk bands. I think that might be my favorite punk band.
That's awesome. It's my favorite punk band by far.
Pints of Guinness Make You Strong,
Mm.
Baby I'm an Anarchist, fucking Sink Floor to Sink. Yes, that whole album, I love it. I have it on vinyl. It's Pepto Bismol Pink. It's fucking awesome.
I've been looking for that album on vinyl for sure.
I've had it for a long time, and it's one of my favorite vinyls. I'm so curious though, like what about that live show stands out to you as the best for you? I'm assuming you've been to a lot of live shows.
Tons. And I'm talking like I've seen Iron Maiden,
Yeah.
like huge production
Yeah.
value. Um, so many bands. I've seen hundreds of bands live. That was our hobby when we were teenagers in high school and into college, was going to shows every weekend almost. But just something about that bare bones, just small venue, 200 people, 300 people tops,
Interesting.
just packed in there. I don't know. And just like we lived in like the suburbs of Dallas, riding the train into downtown, walking to the venue, like getting there early, we were on the guardrails on the front, like there weren't even guardrails. We were pressed up against the stage and like just a foot away from the band as they were like just putting their all into
cool.
it. And like that band, they put their all into it.
Yes.
When they sounded just like on the album, if not better.
I'm getting the severe FOMO right now.
You can't beat it. It was like I said, it was like one of my first shows to go off to by myself and experience, and it just really stood out. I was with good friends. The company made it. And just
I love it. So no like bells and whistles. It wasn't like there was some like pyrotechnics or.
When the band is like, when they're on and they're feeling it, you don't need.
I love it.
That.
I love that. I love that so much. Similarly, I think my favorite show I ever went to was brand new, and
nice.
And it wasn't that long ago, but like maybe 5 years. But they did only the old classics. Like it was like Soko Amaretto Lime. It was Julana Semester Abroad. It was 70 times 7. It was just all the old shit, but only the good ones. There wasn't one song that I walked away like, damn, I wish I heard it. And they were just backlit with just big round yellow lights. That's it, a bunch of them. And that was it. It was so perfect. I laughed, I cried, I pissed my pants. Like it was just incredible, but so simple. Like they were just on, and there are no like, there's no tracks, like that you notice. Like there's nothing. Like Brand New is a very raw band too. So
for sure.
I love that. Oh, I'm so glad you said that. I'm gonna have to send you a picture of the vinyl because it's one of my favorites. Russ also pees his pants. That's good to know. Thank you for sharing that. And loves Pepto
All the cool
Bismol.
kids pee their pants.
That's true. All the cool kids are doing it. Oh man. Oh, this is so great. Okay. Um, so I'm very curious which artist do you think is a good ambassador for how to conduct yourself as a musician as well as outside the industry? I'm more concerned about cuz let's be honest, rock artists have a bad rap in terms of being functional humans overall in
For sure.
general. And the punk scene is definitely at the top of the list of offenders in that department. No shortage of pieces of shit there. So I'm just
Absolutely.
curious. It doesn't have to fall into that realm, but when you think about famous artists or like, notable artists, can you think of anyone where you're like, damn, they fucked up not that much?
Uh, I mean, recently, like idols, um,
Okay.
they just seem like good dudes. They are very what's the word? Very inclusive. They're very thoughtful about things they say and who what they represent, being unity and not being a piece of shit. It's simple.
It sounds simple enough, but it's really hard for a lot of people. So you're
Like they
talking
have
about
songs about consent and giving people their personal space. Like you can't beat it.
interesting. Oh my god, I'm already you're already contorting my opinion of the album you sent me. You're talking about Idols, the band that whose album
Mhm.
you sent me that we're going to be talking about in a little bit, right?
For sure.
Okay, but they're a
And
British rock band, right?
they have another album that came out just after the one that I sent you that is like it's a lot more uh thought provoking. The album I sent you is more like ribbing, tongue in cheek, like um just kind of a joke.
Right.
The next album was much more like anti-war, like I said, consent, um,
Mhm.
just along those lines.
Okay. Interesting. Um, I personally can't think of a lot of musicians that that aren't huge pieces of shit. So I'll be interested to see where this question goes because it's few and far between. I mean, we kind of covered this, but I'm wondering. I'm trying to keep this specific to one because I feel like the question is, can you name some songs or bands that define an influential or impactful era in your life? And I know that that can be different for different eras of your life, but I'm assuming we're going to have a conversation again in the future where you can
For sure.
bring up a different era.
I can
So
definitely
just
give you the most influential era um, for myself. It would definitely be early 2000s. That whole screamo, emo,
yeah.
indie scene was just so pivotal in my life. That's what got me into really going to live shows and
Mhm.
really kind of grabbed a hold of me as far as music. Um, and that was really our thing, was just
Yeah.
listening, going to, going to like screamo shows.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
that was me and the wife. We've been together 19 years,
Oh my
and
god.
we started dating in high
Period.
school. And so as soon as we started dating, like that was our thing. We were just going to shows every weekend. We were on it. She
That's
was really into Coheed and Cambria.
Yes, I was just going to ask you.
I was really into the Used in high school.
Yes.
Um, the Used, From First to Last, Under
Let's
Oath,
go. Let's go.
Every Time I Die, like pretty like metalcore, hardcore,
Yeah.
screamo. That was my thing.
Yes. Yes.
Um, Albums wise, I was really into the Used, their title album, and
Great
in Love
album.
and Death.
Great album.
Um, Every Time I Die. They had an album called Hot Damn that
Mm,
came out in the early 2000s. It was super impactful to my teenage years.
yeah.
Bright Eyes,
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about them.
Bright Eyes, big fan. Uh, some of my favorite songwriting. His voice is, not for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
but that dude can write a song.
Right. Love that. So that's kind of a perfect segue into some things related to genres and classifying that I wanted to talk to you about. when when we talk about punk music specifically, this is kind of my favorite genre to talk about subgenres and classifications because there's so many punk purists that feel all sorts of types of ways about calling things punk and things not punk.
For sure. Yeah.
So talking about the 2000s like emo screamo era, you also used the subgenre metalcore, which I think by today's standards would probably like piss some people off to call some of those things metalcore. It doesn't bother me any, but I'm curious what genre would you put them under in terms of like the used, Coheed and Cambria, maybe like Taking Back Sunday, um, brand
Uh,
new.
it's really hard to like you said, it's hard to classify a lot of bands because of their
And it's changed.
people are so yeah, and they are ever evolving.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as far as metalcore, like I was really into stuff like Converge and Job for a Cowboy, and I don't even know if that would even be considered
Where
metalcore
would
nowadays.
you
It's
classify Chiodos?
Chiodos. See, back in the day, I called everything if they screamed
Screamo.
one time,
It's Screamo.
screamo,
It's Screamo.
like everything.
But is Screamo metalcore?
I think to some extent, some of it is,
Right.
but not all of it. Just a lot of bands kind of ride the line between other genres. They'll pull more punk in or more,
Right.
what have you.
And
Um,
and even when you ask the band themselves, like you won't get really a straight answer. Like I remember I was obsessed with Thrice, right? And Josh, you just said what I was about to say. Thrice, I thought of Thrice as punk because I saw them touring with like Dashboard Confessional, and to me that was just like part of that like 2000s punk emo scene. And then all of a sudden Thrice put out an album that I was like, what the fuck is this? This is not whatever. And it was categorized as post hardcore.
that yeah, that is what I
I
would
don't know what that
actually
means.
I would classify a lot of what I liked back in the day as post-hardcore. And like I was calling it like screamo and metal, and my
Right.
my punk friend was like, "No, it's post-hardcore."
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And to that point, okay. Here's where I get really caught up. Metal has changed the way that we look at it. And the conversation that I always bring up is like Metallica, right? Metallica was metal in the most like metal form that it existed, right? It was like Metallica and maybe like Pantera was really pioneering like the heaviest version of music that we knew, which was metal. Now, now when you look back at, like Ride the Lightning, right? Like I kind of feel like it might be a punk album. I kind of feel like some of the songs are punk. I think
Yeah,
Whiplash is kind of punk.
for sure. They definitely rode that line between punk and metal. Too punk for the metalheads, too metal for the punk kids.
Right, but they weren't Punkalica. They were Metallica. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like they were metal, but because we like the definition of metal has changed, and even from like what we called screamo back then, which now I would look back and I'm like, that's fucking metalcore.
Yeah.
Like that didn't exist. So as a punk guy, like, would you accept early Metallica as punk? Like, if I came out here and I was like, Ride the Lightning was a fucking punk album.
I would personally classify it as metal,
You
just
would.
because
Like a
it's not
true
punk
punk
enough.
rocker. Like a true fucking punk rocker. You would. What? Yeah, I need another drink. Hello, we're talking about punk rock. I need a shot too, as a matter of fact. Thank you, nurse lady. So, in terms of defining punk as a major genre and its arguably tortured subgenre offspring, okay? And I don't say that lightly because poor 2000s punk emo gets totally shit on by punk purists all day and night, all the time. I feel so bad because to me that was punk rock. Brand New is one of my favorite bands. Paramore is my favorite band, and like punk purists would not classify either of those
Oh,
bands
for sure.
as punk. So
Say Anything was one of my big bands back in the day, and people were like, "Oh, that's emo. That's whatever." And they themselves were like, "We're not emo. We're punk.
Literally.
Don't put us in that group.
Yeah.
We're punk."
It's hard when mom and dad are fighting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you got the band saying we are this, and then the people that have been punk rockers forever, they're like, we don't accept you. Like you can't sit with us. You know.
Sure,
So
a lot of people call idols punk, and they will fight you. They're like, we are not punk music.
Oh, we're gonna get to that.
We are a rock and roll band.
Okay,
like,
wait.
Do not call us punk.
In the name of punk rock, we have to do a shot right now. All right, everyone. Hello, Hellboy. Let's say hi to chat for a second before we get into all this, because this could get heated. Everyone, say hi to Giner Pot.
Hi. Oh hey.
The Gine is here. Everyone.
Oh hey.
All right, everybody. Cheers. Thank you so much. You didn't take the lime out.
I figured you wanted it.
Fucker. Still trolling me, even in person. Do you guys understand? So, I do want to talk about that in a little bit, specifically about idols. But I want to know, as a punk guy, which bands would you say are a good representation of traditional, or what I call trad punk? Like, if you had to, if an alien came down and you had to pick a band to be a representation of punk, which one would you pick?
I would go with probably something like The Descendants.
The Descendants. I don't even know who that is.
No? So good.
But that's okay.
They have a song called Suburban Home. That is phenomenal. Suburban Home. Or I Like Food. Either one.
Here we go.
I want to be stereotyped. I want to be classified.
Chad, can you hear that?
I want to be stereotyped. I want to be classified.
How old is this band?
This is definitely like 80s.
I think this is a good representation. I accept. What was the other song?
I Like Food.
I like the title. It's relatable to me personally. It speaks to my character. It's 16 seconds long.
Yes.
I think the aliens would get a really good understanding of punk rock if you showed them this. I fucking love that. Fucking pop off.
Like that song, like I chose because it's so short and sweet, and that's what's so great about punk music.
Yes.
All that energy crammed into 15 seconds, and they get their message across. You know.
Have you seen SLC Punk?
Oh, for sure. I've been my oldest is 15 and has been getting into punk. He's very into like Bad Brains and a lot of like old school straight edge punk.
Bad Brains.
I've been like telling him SLC Punk. Like as soon as I might buy it just so that we can watch it together.
I've seen it. I've seen it like 30 times.
So good.
I love it. That's another one too that like it's been around since I was very little, and I've seen it at different stages of my life, and I've identified with it differently as I've watched it getting older. Oh, it's such a classic movie. I'm so glad you've seen it. Not enough people have seen it. Chat, you need to go watch SLC Punk if you haven't.
Devastatingly sad. Like
it's so classic. The story, oh, Matt Lillard when he was just a little baby. So
Sure.
good. So
So
good.
many people in that movie, like Jason Segel
Yes.
is in that movie.
Jason Segel, and then the guy
So
that
young.
plays Shooter McGavin in
Yeah.
whatever. Someone
Then
just
Devin Sawa.
Yeah,
I think is
yeah,
his name, the guy with the oven mitts.
Sean. You know what, man? You are Jesus. Yeah. Yes, Steven. He
Would
is
it be
Steven.
possible for me to run to the bathroom?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
I was driving when you talked about this, but I think a lot of people classify Metallica as classic rock now. Yes, and honestly, I have a problem with that. I mean, I do and I don't. Would you classify Pantera as classic rock? Which is funny because it's original metal. Thank you. Okay, bye, nurse lady. I heard Blink-182 and Green Day on a classic rock radio station recently. Yes, I heard fucking Red Hot Chili Peppers on a classic rock station, and I was honestly offended. They called you Gi Nurse. Gi Nurse lady. See, this is a little bit more melodic vocally. Uh-oh, Gi Nurse is back.
Hey, who's talking shit? Don't mind me.
Metallica, Pantera, Aerosmith, all of it is classic rock now. I mean, sure. I think of it like, you know, would I... What's happening? Would I classify... Where would you guys classify Korn?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, hi. You're back. Who's that nosy
Korn is
little...
definitely new metal, right?
That's what I would say. I would say Korn is new metal. I wouldn't put Korn and Pantera and Metallica in the same... Yeah, Josh agrees. Okay, Orange agrees.
Korn was my shit.
Me too! Family Values? Hello, I was just
Yes.
talking about that. I saw them with Evanescence and Breaking Benjamin, like 2004
That's awesome.
or something.
Like 4th, 5th grade, I was so into Korn and Limp Bizkit.
Limp Bizkit is my fucking shit. Significant Other bangs.
Oh, yes.
Forever.
I got that on
Forever.
cassette in like 99.
Chocolate Starfish! I just think that like metal has transformed so much, and the way it relates to punk music, I think at some points punk as a genre is evolving into a dead end. You know, like I think that's why like 2000s era emo punk died. I think it's like it's very representative of that time period, and I'm actually like curious, what do you think are defining characteristics of a solid like classic punk song? I'm curious what characteristics define like a trad punk song to you, and what characteristics define like that 2000s emo era, and then the new punk that you sent me, because they're all very different. But
Oh, for sure.
but with punk, like it has to check some boxes to fit into that. So I'm very curious how you classify it.
As far as like traditional punk, it's got to be simple. The lyrics are simple. The instrumentals are generally pretty simple. It's got to be fast. It's got to be hard. It's got to be loud. And I think that's all the boxes that I need checked. Simple, fast, hard, loud.
Period.
Period.
What about lyrically?
I think there's definitely gonna be the angsty, because generally it seems like punk bands were younger kids. There's gonna be that angsty, just teenage problems,
Right.
leading into early adulthood problems, partying,
Right. So
and then the social issues.
well, so that was what I was gonna say. Is Orange Pims just said classic punk was way more anti-establishment.
Oh yeah,
And
for
when
sure.
you look at like what SLC punk was trying to define, which was punk in the 80s, specifically like 85-ish era, and I think that was very true. Like it had to be almost political, you know.
I love the Dead Kennedys.
The Dead Kennedys, yes, absolutely.
And as I got older, like more 2000s punk, Anti-Flag,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, all that anti-establishment. I loved Anti-Flag. Gotta die
Yeah.
for your government.
Yeah.
That was the anthem. Definitely like anti-war.
Yep.
F politicians. F rich people.
Anarchy.
Anarchy in the UK.
Anarchy in the UK. And to that point, I'm always very curious to talk to punk people about how much you think punk rock is defined by the culture as opposed to the actual music itself. You know, and the reason why I frame it that way from a musical perspective is a lot of that early trad punk isn't super complicated musically or even like that musical, so to speak. Like, you know, like Sex Pistols, it's a lot of shouting over chords that are the same four chords over and over again. It's the same type of structure. It's loud, it's fast, it has breakdowns, but overall it's kind of a bunch of yelling. But when you would go to a punk show, you would expect chaos, mayhem, you know, fuck the government, you know, like being unique and independent, which, you know, if you've seen SLC Punk, kind of becomes a uniform at some point, you know, which is
Sure.
why it's so defined by its culture. There kind of is a uniform to be involved in the punk scene.
I used to think about that all the time when I would go to punk shows. I'm like looking around at all these kids, like they're trying to be so individualistic,
And they
but
look
they
the
all are
same.
dressed in the same uniform. They all have that studded belt. Same with like certain like metal shows that I would go to. Like
Oh, yeah.
they're you're claiming to be an individual, but you guys are all dressed exactly the same.
No, the metal uniform is camo pants with a black t-shirt. You next time you go to a metal show, look around and see how many camo pants, black t-shirt guys you see.
I'm like
It's
really into
insane.
hardcore music, like metallic hardcore,
Yeah.
and like that's it.
Yeah.
Camo shorts,
Black
black tee.
t-shirt. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Me too. I
Every-
have that outfit. Like that's it. That's it. I'm okay with that. Do you think the music is more important or the culture? That's such a dick question to ask. I'm sorry.
I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand.
It does.
The music is more important to me,
Mhm.
but it also is the culture is wrapped up in the music
Right. Right.
for sure. All their messages, like that is the culture.
Right.
And punk, like for being so like angry and aggressive, it is so positive. Like it doesn't sound like it, but all they want is they just want peace and unity and
They do.
everyone to have a good life. But we don't get that. We get capitalism and people suffering.
Right.
So we got to sing about it and be angry.
We
about
gotta
it.
sing about it. We gotta get angry. And metal gets that same bad rap, and I'm a big metalhead myself. And, you know, there's lots of Christian metal bands too, which is so ironic.
Yeah.
You know,
Like
and-
Under Oath was one of my favorite
Yep.
like metalcore bands
Yeah.
back in the day, and
we love to see it. And it's, you know, it's a big fuck you to the stigmas and stereotypes around that type of music.
it always bothered me. Like when I was younger, I went to church. I was pretty heavily involved in church, and if I would wear a Corn shirt, for example, people would be
To
like, "Oh, you're
church?
going to hell.
Hell yeah!
You're going to hell for listening to that kind of music."
I'm going where the
like-
party's at.
Like, I'm out of here.
See
You
you
guys have
there,
fun.
guys.
I'm gonna go listen to Corn and wear my ball bearing necklace and my Jinkos.
Yeah, oh my god, remember those? I forgot about those necklaces. I had an Evanescence one. I had a ball chain necklace that had an Evanescence symbol in the middle. I was fucking killing it, dude.
The wife would have loved that in high
I
school.
know. We would have been besties. I see
Sure.
up here in chat. Hold on. I don't want to miss this because we're talking about my bitch, Amy Lee, my mom, Amy Lee. Korn will always be relevant. Korn's cover of Another Brick in the Wall was amazing. I'm from the same place as Korn, and they had a road named after them, Korn Street. I love that. Really like Korn's version of Kidnap the Sandy Claus. I found a I Love Boobies belt the other day going through my storage. Metal. Yeah, Sex Pistols. I think if I had to pick one to define, I would probably pick the Sex Pistols.
That's what
Or
pretty much
Rancid.
got me into, like, the start of listening to punk was my stepdad being like, "Hey, check this album out," and handing me
Yeah.
Nevermind the Bollocks,
Yeah, yeah.
and I mean the Ramones.
Deon
Dead
Sandals and his
Kennedys. That was
Slipknot tees and ball necklace, all our childhood. Hell, fuck yeah. Slipknot is another one that that could be a whole conversation for me. Slipknot's one of my favorite bands.
I still remember the first time I ever heard that, and it was like heavy to me. Before that was like Marilyn Manson,
Yeah, yeah.
and then
That's
I heard
another one.
Slipknot for the first time, and I was like, "What the
Yeah.
hell?"
I think
It gets heavier.
I think Slipknot to me is the definition of metalcore. Like when I think of like checking the boxes of what metalcore is to me, and it's just purely my personal opinion. It's not based on, how people define the subgenres, but a little bit of screaming, a little bit of singing, a lot of heavy, and a lot of breakdown. And the album has to have like some songs that are really fucking just like jamming ass heavy, like Eyeless, like some fucking just kick your ass all the way through it. And then some songs that have like those sweet moments, like was it Surface, or like I never wanted anybody more and I wanted you, or whatever, or it just like stops for a second, becomes like this really sweet moment, and then it just turns back into this driving heavy ass shit. That to me is metalcore. Then you have like bands like Asking Alexandria, that like, or was it Attack, Sexual Man Chocolate, where it just goes from like the opening is like it's like a minuet, like a Bach, like piano piece, and then it turns into this really heavy like metal moment, and then the chorus is like techno pop.
Yeah, they were wild. That whole era was crazy. I remember seeing them at Warped Tour back in the day.
Yeah, same.
That whole crabcore.
I saw them in Orlando, actually. They were
Wow.
fucking insane. All right, what are you listening to right now? Like, if you jumped in your car and you put on your Spotify or your Pandora, what would pop up?
I have 3 playlists that I rotate between. I have a country playlist that is like the alternative. It's modern artists doing that vintage vibe. I posted it in your Discord.
I thought I saw that pop up somewhere.
I have a pop punk playlist that is, it's not like early 2000s. It's not Blink 182 and Newfound Glory and stuff like that. It's more modern, 2015 and up pop punk.
So like the 3 you sent me.
Emo. Yes.
Okay.
And then I have a hardcore playlist.
Okay.
Which is
Let's go.
I love where hardcore is at right now.
Me too.
Makes me so happy. It used to be such like a white male dominated genre, and now there's like so many bands that are like female or minority, and they're putting their own spin on it, and I love it.
Who are you digging in the hardcore scene right now?
I really like Gel, Gel.
I don't know who that is, but I'm gonna check that out.
Soul Glow.
Okay.
Soul Glow is the shit. I actually just bought their vinyl. It's hardcore with a hip hop and punk tinge thrown in there.
Love that.
I really like Knocked Loose.
Love Knocked Loose. Yes.
That shit. That's like some of my favorite vocals in metalcore, hardcore, whatever you want to classify it as.
Someone said Electric Callboy, amazing band. In terms of female hardcore bands, have you heard Conquer Divide?
I meant to check them out and I haven't yet.
You got to. It's all female band. They have a screamer and a singer. The singer has this really sweet, almost like Flyleaf style of singing. The screamer, another chick, she plays the bass as well. She fucking kills it. Absolutely. There's like you don't even it's so guttural. It's so
Love
rich.
it.
Their breakdowns are super heavy, but they have these really cool moments. But I've not seen an all female band like that successful in the hardcore scene ever. Will Ramos
Oh,
from Lorna Shore
definitely.
did a reaction video to We Got the Moves. Yeah. And Will Ramos also fucking goated.
That dude's voice is wild.
Goated. Of all of them though, Spirit Box is my favorite. I mean, that bitch, Courtney, pipes. Pipes, dude. And she
Yeah,
has
they're
this
awesome.
sweet, like, she can do the sweet. She reminds me of Lacuna Coil. Did you ever listen to Lacuna Coil?
I wasn't like super into them, but I remember listening to them back in the day.
Yeah.
The wife definitely had
Like a
a mixed
mix, a
CD with them
mixtape.
on
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Same, same, same. Yeah, I have heard his clean vocals too. Beast, yeah. Will Ramos, yeah, he has a really, really pretty singing voice as well. Russ said, I wish someone would burn me a mix CD.
Jen had a Ford Taurus that had a 6 disc changer in the back, and we had like a briefcase full of discs, and we were constantly burning mixed CDs. Like sometimes still today, I'll
Yeah!
hear a song and I'll expect the next song on a mixed CD to come up next.
Same. Me and my best friend Alex, my only girlfriend, I call her my husband, and we have what we would call our wedding mix. And we just had like one of those CD books, you know, with like where you like slide the CDs in, and it would just be like wedding mix 1, wedding mix 2, wedding mix 3, and it was like Limp Bizkit, Slipknot, fucking Brand New, just like, you know, all that shit, all that angry shit, Thrice, all that stuff. And we still when I'm listening to a playlist on Spotify, I'll hear the end of a song and I'm like, it's just one of those days. You know?
Yeah,
Oh well, let's take a pause to cheers. Paul Pierce is here and says hi.
pal, that's a buddy.
Hi, buddy. All right, here we go. We're gonna talk about the stuff he sent me. All right.
Okay.
Now, no, this is my first episode. Okay. And when I tell you that I listened to all of these multiple times, and I gave them fair analysis, and I gave them a fair shot. Okay. And I didn't end up having time to do as much background research on the bands as I wish I had, and I will be doing after. But first, I just listened to them, and I was very surprised at how new they were because
Yeah.
they sound very old. A lot of them reminded me of Thursday and Brand New. I felt like I was in 2002 for a lot of the time that I was listening to this. In no particular order, though, I realized after I put the order that I kind of made a shit sandwich. I put the one that I didn't like the most in the middle,
Yeah.
which I think is one of your favorites, so I'm already feeling bad about it.
No worries.
So, the first one that I'm gonna bring up was Pup, The Dream Is Over. The album is from 2016, though it sounds literally like 2002. This is a Canadian punk band. And just like I want to bring up a couple things about this that were super fucking cool to me. I feel like a lot of people that appreciate music reminisce on the times when we looked at albums as a work of art, you know, versus just singles that we know and have heard of. And it's just a different way that we consume media now because we have short attention spans and TikTok is a thing and it just is what it is, you know? But I looked at these from the album perspective and they did not disappoint. All three of them are clearly very well thought out albums in terms of the way that they did their song selection. And I was really happy. I was happy to be a musician, you know, and a songwriter. This song, it might have been my favorite song of all of the songs of the whole everything that you sent me because this is the first song of the album and it was also the first one I listened to and it grabbed me right away and I was fucking sold. Like I will die for this band after this. The lyrics.
They're one of my favorite pop punk, whatever genre you want to put them in. Kind of a lot of the pop punk that I listen to is kind of hybrid Midwest emo.
This was so good. This is Canadian pop punk, really. But here, okay, let's just listen to the beginning of this real quick.
If this tour doesn't kill you, then I will. I hate your guts and it makes me ill. Seeing your face every morning.
Fucking love it. Just thinking about him writing this while he's on tour with this person.
22 days. If this tour doesn't kill you, I may. I'm counting down the miles till we leave the state. I'm counting down the minutes till I can't erase every memory of you. For a second, let's be honest, nothing will clean your filthy conscience. Everything you do makes me wanna vomit. And if this tour doesn't kill you, buddy, I'm on.
So that was really what I wanted to. Oh God, should I not have that on the screen? Pause like that. That was really what I wanted to bring up first and foremost because fucking W lyrics, absolute fucking
So
W. I love it. It's LOL, Cody. You love a 2000s whiny voice. Me,
Love it.
fucking too, bitch. And this album came out in 2016. It's not even 2002. I know we all were just transported there in a time machine together. Holy shit.
When I heard this band and a lot of other bands in this genre, I was so happy to see what I grew up listening to in high school come back. Like, I felt like all of the bands that I loved got away from that pure sound and into more poppy and overproduced music. And so to hear stuff like this,
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.
They're doing it.
And that's what I felt when I listened to it. And to be honest with you, like I kind of was touching on before, the way I always describe that 2000s era of like emo punk, like Brand New and Blink-182, is like it really had nowhere to go. Where I think a lot of like real trad punk evolved into thrash metal. This really didn't. That era just defines that era, you know, like that type of music in the lyrical content, in like the whiny voice, like it all was kind of like the skater, like punk way of expressing yourself at that time. But musically, it didn't really have anywhere to go. And a lot of it turned into electro pop or like indie pop. It stopped being punk, you know, punk kind of had a dead end there. But this proves me wrong. Like every single one of these albums is post 2015 and literally proves me wrong. And they killed it. This song fucking killed it. Immediately, this song reminded me of Brand New. And I am a huge sucker for songs that start out with a stripped back version and then kind of drop off or like explode into a real rock moment. This reminded me of Sewing Season a little bit, or Okay, I Believe You, But My Tommy Gun Don't, where it just like starts real laid back and quiet and like, where's this going? And then all of a sudden he's like, eh! You know, like, and just explode into it. I fucking love that so much. The dynamic change.
It makes me happy that you loved it. When I sent you albums, the first goal was to send you something. I always do this. It's like it gives me joy in life to send people music that I think that they will enjoy.
Oh, you nailed it.
So yeah, it makes me feel really good.
I listened to this album. This is my favorite of the three you sent me. And I've listened to this one 4 times. I listened to it twice today. And I fucking love it. Do you know a band called Cursive?
Oh yeah, love Cursive.
Okay, I also have the vinyl from The Ugly Organ. It's a clear green pressed vinyl. Yeah. Super
Gentleman
cool.
Caller.
Gentleman Caller, The Recluse. This band reminds me of Cursive in the way that their music is, because Cursive is a little bit more complex than a Brand New, where they do more like deceptive chord changes and like weird time signatures and stuff like that. Brand New was very like 4/4 like all the time. But the lyrics and this album made me realize that punk lyrically lives in a specific place for me, where lyrically it kind of anchors you to like feelings about things, and it pulls from that trad punk idea, like this type of newer punk pulls from the trad punk idea of like fuck you, but it's less about the government and being anti-establishment and more about like, you know, fuck you bitch for hurting my feelings, or fuck
Yeah.
you mom and dad
It's
for
honest. It's
not
so
loving
honest.
me for who I am. It's very honest, but it's just different. Like they take the
Yeah.
politics out of it and they make it more like, I'll tell you to go fuck yourself. Like this whole song is about a band member that they wanted to fucking murder. That to me defines punk of this nature, like the new punk, you know?
For sure.
So, the song Doubts by Pup, I wanted to bring that up too. I think this one has lyrics on it. Oh, and this one has a really complex meter for some reason. It alternates from a 5 beat to a 6.
See, that's something I would never
Right.
notice.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. I love when bands really subtly introduce complex meters you wouldn't notice. Tool did it a lot really successfully. Incubus does it. Nobody notices all the time. But this was so cool because it's punk. It doesn't fucking need it, you know? Like, you didn't have to do that. But I appreciate it. Like, I think
sure.
it's so fucking cool. I hear little bits of, like, Against Me, like, Pints of Guinness Make You Strong, because it's still melodic. What I love about this band is, like, they write very anthemic, you know? Like, shit that you would be screaming in a crowd. That's, again, like, punk being about the culture, you know, and wanting to bring people together. And when you're in that crowd screaming the same lyrics, that guy next to you is your fucking brother for that 2 hours, you know?
Absolutely.
I was really digging the crowd participation being written into the song, and you can tell when those parts are like, that's where I get to shout. The Coast. Also, yeah, the rhythm here. I had a musical boner for this whole album.
Hell yeah.
Watch over your flock. The cracks in the ice, they'll swallow them up. The lake needs to eat just like all living things, and it's hungriest in the spring.
Just fucking love it. That's so Against Me. That is an Against Me theme right there. The entrance of that with the multiple voices screaming. Then the lyrics.
Songwriting is huge for me. Like, definitely top of the list for what I need from a song.
Yes. Like, the vulnerability of that. I'm growing up and giving in. I just want to be something. Never thought I'd be nothing at all. And it's like, yeah, at some point, especially as musicians, we all fucking sell out at some point a little bit, you know? Like, when you grow up as a musician, you're like, I'm gonna be Amy Lee. Like, I'm gonna be, like, you know, as big as Korn. And then, like, you get to a point where you're like, damn, I'm gonna play cover songs in a bar to make a living. You know? And it's literally this lyric. It feels like I can't win. I'm growing up and I'm giving in. It's starting to hurt. Ah, God, it was too real. It was, They ended with like this kind of like ballady.
Pine Point, where I was born.
It got real deep real quick.
The roads are
Yeah,
all
for sure.
overgrown. In Pine Point, 86, my older brother died when we were kids. His best friend was wasted at the wheel.
Yeah, I have this album on vinyl. One of my favorites. There's no skips. I can listen to it front and back all the way through. Love it.
Yeah, I feel like it was very unapologetic and direct, and it gave a lot of nods to Against Me. And I really appreciate artists that write to the live show, because I think that's kind of the point, you know, especially with punk music. It's like us all getting together and enjoying something and relating to something, but even if the way that I perceive the meaning of the song is different from you, we both felt something from it. And I think this fucking nailed it. I really enjoyed this album a lot.
Makes me so happy that you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Like I said, I love introducing to somebody to something and they love it. Like that's
I did.
If I could do that every day of my life.
And like you, I can take something from any type of music. And, you know, like when you asked me if I listened to country, or, you know, I forget how you phrased it, which, yes, I've listened to a lot of it. Do I like a lot of it? I wouldn't say that I do.
I didn't until 2 years ago or a year ago. I started listening to this current scene, and it just like woke something up in me. Is like, this is what I was missing from country.
Right.
This is what I grew up hearing from grandma and my mom. I grew up listening to 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s country.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the 2000s came along and
pop country.
Went pop.
Pop
I was
country,
just
yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I'm good.
Same. And I will say it's been hit or miss for me with pop country. However, I've accidentally been exposed to some pop country recently that I think is actually kind of turning into alternative. And so maybe this is the alternative type of country that you've been talking about. But I don't hate it. And I've never been in the camp of like, I hate country. It's just like not going to be my first choice ever, because historically, though there's a couple gems in there, it's lumped into a bunch of shit that I don't want to hear, you know. But it's not that I don't like it. That being said, the next album that you brought to my attention was the Idols album, Joy is an Act of Resistance, a surprisingly 2018 British rock album. And again, I didn't actually look up the year of this album until today, and I was super shocked. Because I thought this was the oldest of all of them, and it's the second newest of all of them.
Yeah.
And now that I've heard you talk about them a little bit, and you were saying that that it's more, they're doing more of like an ironic play on themes. It does make sense, because they have the one song, Love Song, that was so silly. Yeah. I remember I was listening to it with Jiner, and I just couldn't stop laughing the whole time. And
they're hilarious. They crack. That's what got me when I first started listening to them. Was like, this is fucking hilarious.
It's so silly.
I love it.
So I didn't pull a bunch of different songs for this one because it was not my favorite. But I do want to play a little bit of the first song, Colossus. So, and I'm gonna skip around a little bit, but so. This song, again, was a great first song for an album. And it was clear that it was very intentional, because it was very building. But it built so much that it nearly gave me a crippling panic attack, because it was building for, like, it's building for, the song's 5 minutes and 44 seconds. It builds until 4 minutes and 10 seconds is when the drop happens. So my anxiety could never. But so just to give you guys a little bit of an idea of what's happening, I'll just play the intro.
I love all of their music videos. They're silly.
I was done in on the weekend.
When the
The weekend lasted 20 years. The world's best
this is a sick video.
bulimic bartend.
Oh, and the lyrics of this song, really fucking solid.
Forgive me, Father, I have sinned. I drained my body full of pins. I've danced till
Welcome back, Wolf.
with splintered shins. Full of
So this is already a long intro. The drop should be right here,
Right.
and it's not. It's not. It's not, okay? And so this is what I'm gonna say, because it's still building. It's still building. It's still fucking building. Okay, now this is at, what, 2:26? It's still building. I love him so much. Is that whose mustache you have? Okay, so you understand what I'm saying? My anxiety. Okay, should we skip? McBreath likes this. Can we skip up to where the drop
It's
happens?
funny, they actually have a song called Anxiety, and it is the most anxiety-inducing song I've ever heard. Major break.
I love the end of the song. It's like, it's the song for me.
But then I fucking love this part so fucking much. Lyrics! Period. I think that. Oh wait, Collie said you can only hear me in one ear. Oh, well, that's the first I'm hearing that, so that's a special feature for you. It's called surround sound. I'm like Stone Cold Steve Austin. I put homophobes in coffins is the hardest punk lyric I've ever fucking
I love it.
heard. So that was like my love-hate with the album. So this is one of those like my musicianship hindering my ability to enjoy something, because as a vocalist and lyricist and someone who writes melodies, I really wanted the vocal melodies to be more present in the music than they were. And he's very much like a punk rock guy that shouts over chords.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
The vocals could exist completely separately from the chord structure. It's like they're in two different universes, which is a punk rock thing to do. It just drove me nuts. However, this was such a trad punk album. This album is 30 years too late. Like,
Right.
it would have went perfectly in Rancid's discography.
For sure. When I first started listening to them, like, oh, this is punk. This is definitely punk music.
Right.
But then I saw them live, or I saw an interview with the singer, and he's like, please stop calling us punk.
Yeah, so they're
You're rock
labeled
and
as a
roll.
British rock band. Sorry, chat. I'm seeing you talking shit about my audio, and I'm trying to adjust it.
I'm going to let you adjust that real quick. I have to go to the bathroom again. I've been drinking a lot of beer.
No, you're fine. Go.
It's going through me.
I need my nurse lady. Nurse lady! Bring a shot of tequila with you. Vela Facalia, make a breath, everyone. Oh.
Oh, hey.
Cheers.
Cheers. Who was that stud of a man? Don't worry about it.
Is that the Giant Man Jones? Just want to play a little bit of Love Song just because it's so silly.
That song cracked me up the first time I heard it.
Oh, we listened to it 3 times and I laughed the whole time. Jiner was also a fan of this album than I was. Let me tell you the things I did like about it. I loved that the chord structure was really dark and dramatic and heavy. Especially I like it even more now because I love the juxtaposition of like we're being silly and ironic and making it sound really dramatic, but it's not, which makes this song make a lot more sense. The lyrics are consistently accusatory and confrontational, which is very punk rock. I loved that it was just like no fucks given, you know, the whole time. I did say vocal melody is almost detached from the key altogether. It's more shout chanting than it is anything else, which when you're talking about crowd involvement and writing for the show, you know, I think that's super indicative of a good punk band that isn't just trying to produce a good studio album, you know, that sounds good on paper. You know what it's going to sound like when you show up to the show. The last song was very anthemic and chanty, and the whole time I was listening to it, I was picturing myself at a show because it...
For sure, and I've seen them in concert, and it is very, like you said, anthemic and chanty. People are all
involved.
Going ham. Yeah.
You're part of the show, and the best musicians that I know look at music that way, where it's like you are a part of the show as the audience. You know, this is our moment together. It's not just us up here dance monkey for you. It's like we're creating a moment. Every show is different, and it's us, you know. We are this band, we are this moment, and I thought they nailed it. So I'm actually really excited to play this because the lyrics are just so silly. Hold on. Dance Monkey for You is a great band name. I'm writing that down. One thing to make a good album, another to make your fans feel like they're a part of the music. Period. With breath. Absolutely.
I wrote a love song, 'cause you're so lovable. I carry the watermelon, I wanna be vulnerable.
Okay. I carry the watermelon, I want to be vulnerable.
I will not go to bars, I'll jump in strangers' cars. All mine sweet for lines and lines and lines and lines and lines. It's not about the sex and sex and sex and sex and sex and sex. I wanna be your best ever friend forever, best friend. This mother love. La 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 la.
So, you know what I'm saying? You know?
For sure.
I appreciate it so much more after hearing what you said about them.
Like, one of the first things I read about them, like, when they formed this band in 2015, I think, none of them knew how to play anything. They were just like, I want to be famous. I want to make a band.
Mm-hmm.
And they just started doing it. And it didn't take long for them to do it well and blow up.
It really, though, like, I was sitting here listening. I kept listening to this song, and I was trying to figure out which band they reminded me of, and it was fucking Rancid. Like, I went back and I pulled up.
If you wanna make a move, then you better come in. It's just ability that
It's Rancid.
we're so thin. Living and dying and the stories that are true.
They always remind me of The Clash.
Yeah, okay, that too. Yes. Actually, you know what? Good point. Oh, come on. Yeah, I think The Clash might be a better one, dude. I think The Clash is a better comparison.
Breaking rocks in a hot sun.
Yeah! La what? I don't want to take up any more time on this because I also really loved I really fucking loved Origami Angel.
Yes.
You know, I have to say I did listen to Pup first, and I loved that so much. I almost was like, fuck that. But I went back and listened to Somewhere City again, and oh, yes.
So good.
I also listened to it again today.
It's just two guys.
Again, looking at the album as a whole, and I don't want to take away from that with the last one, with the last album from Idols, because again, they really put together an album and as an art, you know, and I loved it, and I loved that we're keeping that alive.
Honestly, I wished I had sent the album that came after that to you, but I had already sent that one. I didn't want to make you listen to too much Idols in case you weren't a big fan.
You know what? For next time, for when I bring you back, because we're going to see how some of these answers change as well. I was a huge fan of this as an opening song. Again, just really intentional. Yes, McGrath.
Definitely my favorite pop punk right now.
Yes. Yes. There's so much happening right there.
Just come with me. You'll have to see. There's something.
Yes. This all fucking day, but I fucking love this song. There's a lot of super nerdy musician shit that it doesn't even fucking matter. It's so cool. They do this polyrhythm. They're doing a 4 and then they do that dun 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 dun. First it sounds like it's gonna be really clunky and weird and awkward, and then it just like wraps together so perfect. And there's all these weird chords that you don't expect to happen. It's super deceptive. Oh, I fucking love it. They remind me so much of Motion City Soundtrack. I was a huge Motion City Soundtrack fan. The way that they organize their lyrics really remind me of it. The melodies, he has a really cool voice, and like I think they did such a good job. I'm excited to bring up some more because it's so fun.
Makes me so happy that people are enjoying this. Like this band, I've been like, everybody needs to hear this. Everybody who grew up listening to pop punk or Midwest emo needs to hear this.
Specifically, I wrote this down and I had to be very specific about it because they do remind me of Fall Out Boy, but specifically they remind me of From Under the Cork Tree, Fall Out Boy.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
The melodies, that album I listened to on repeat forever. I just...
Peak Fall Out Boy.
Yes. I was such a fan of this band. So, thank you for this. How I feel about them. It's like a time machine just brought me there. It is very Fall Out Boy. Okay, so what I thought was so cool about this song, they do this really metal chromatic bass line walk up that sounds like it's gonna be a metal thing, and then when it comes up to the bridge, it really like satisfied what I wanted. ass W's. All right, this was another one. This band just really got my gears going again. This honestly, this could be my favorite. Lyrically,
I can feel the disdain in your eyes, laughing at me as I walk away. Maybe I would be just fine if I could just change everything that's wrong with me, but it's not that easy.
yeah! Speak your goddamn mind. I fucking love it. If you haven't heard Motion City soundtrack, what do you know from Motion City? Let's Get Fucked Up and Die?
LG Fuad.
Yeah, LG Fuad. This is peak, like, 2007 shit right here.
Let's get fucked up and die.
Come on!
Speaking figuratively, of course, like the last time that I committed suicide, social suicide. Yeah, so I'm already dead.
Yeah, Josh, I think it's a toss-up for me, this one or that
I
one.
can still pretend with my memories and photographs I've learned to love.
You know, okay, so you get the idea. This album, when I looked it up, is classified as American emo, whatever the fuck that means, but produced in 2019. So, as much as it sounds like, you know, again, 2002, dude,
It's been so heavy. Like, I listen to this so much, and I love it. It takes me back. Takes me back to my girl pants and my straightened hair and my eyeliner, and sideways belt,
Folks
and my
said
checkerboard Vans.
America owns emo now, I guess. Yeah, I guess so. It's not our proudest accomplishment, but it is ours. So this is the last song in the album.
I love it. It brings it all together.
It did really wrap it up. It did really wrap it up. And I wasn't anticipating that because it was lyrically kind of all over the place, but he admits that he just grew out of this town and he's not in these old habits anymore. Sorry for the worry I've been causing you, but I'm doing pretty well. It's kind of like a, I know you've been worried about me, but fuck you. I'm so much better than all of you that are still in your fucking podunk-ass little town. And I just love that. But it also still has the tinges of, he says, I'm never going to come back home again. But when you're feeling low or so damn distant and broken and lonely, just know that you'll never be alone. So it's like a fuck you, but like, I still got your back. I just, yes. This album gave me a hug. Before I move on to the next section, I just want to say thank you for letting me dive into these things because, you know, you could have shown me some shit that I didn't like and I could have just ripped it apart and we would have done it. We fuck it, we'll do it live, you know.
Thanks for diving into it. It was, you know, it's a task to jump into a whole album.
And I appreciate it very much. And is there anything you want to say about any of these artists or albums before we move on from them for a moment?
Just Pup has a few more albums that are great. Same with Origami Angel. They have a song called Live from the UFO. Chef's Kiss, so good. Idols has a new album about to come out in February called, I don't know, Love is the Thing with an F.
The Thing. Love is the thing. Like, thank you so much. Love is the thing.
Yeah, if you enjoyed it, if you enjoyed any of it, it makes me so happy. That's all I strive for.
We're getting to the question sections, so we're just gonna roll through real quick. We're gonna do speed round real quick. We're not gonna talk about any of this. I'm just going to ask you your favorite. You're gonna tell me. I'm gonna save this information for later. If we reconvene, 6 months from now or whenever, I might ask you these again, and you, if you so feel the need to change your answers, then, we can discuss it then. For now, No explanation necessary. Speed round favorite artists of all of these genres. If you don't care or have one, then just say pass. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Hip hop,
Kendrick Lamar,
rock,
Idols,
electronic artist or DJ,
Kenny Beats.
pop artist.
I don't know if this is really pop, but Joji.
Okay, we will accept Joji as pop artist. For punk, I told you because you're a punk guy, I was going to give you 3 categories. The first category is punk overall.
It's against me.
Boom. Let's go. Trad punk.
Descendants.
Perfect. Pop punk.
Pop.
2000s emo punk. I guess that's a 4th one, but I give it to everyone.
I was such a big Taking Back Sunday fan.
Country.
Charlie Crockett.
Metal.
Converge.
Classical.
Pass. Snooze Fest.
Bluegrass.
Trampled by Turtles.
Any others?
Jazz. I like Dave Brubeck. It's pretty good.
Great answer. All right. Die on that hill. In this section, you're going to do exactly that. Die on that hill. Again, if you don't have an opinion and there's no hills that you want to die on, then you can just let it go. This is your opportunity to air out your dirty laundry, say what needs to be said. What album or artist do you think deserves more recognition or should be highlighted?
Definitely Charlie Crockett. He's
Okay.
by far my favorite as far as country goes.
What is it about him that is so underrated?
He's just so versatile. He's good at just straight up old school country. He does jazz, he does blues, and he does it all well. He's got a voice like honey. Love it.
Charlie Crockett, everyone. You heard it here first. Charlie Crockett. Let's talk about something that's happening in the industry that grinds your gears.
Probably every rapper that sounds the same.
Every rapper that sounds the same. That is
They all-
fair. That is fair. So you picked Kendrick, not that we're talking about your choices, but you picked Kendrick Lamar as your favorite hip-hop artist, which gives me an idea of what kind of hip-hop you appreciate. Which other hip-hop artists do you feel are not failing you in this area?
Big fan of like Earth Gang,
Yes! JID.
Jid, yeah.
Let's
Loved
go. Are there any rappers that you think are getting too much recognition?
Just I don't know if they're getting too much recognition, but like it's not my bag. I'm not a fan of like NBA Youngboy.
Okay.
I'm not really a huge fan of Lil Uzi. Just kind of in that vein.
I got you. Yeah, I was trying to get on board with Lil Uzi, and then the Pink album came out, and it really
Yeah.
fucked up my whole perception. I was so annoyed. I was so annoyed at first of all, the collab with Bring Me the Horizon, which was a great song on Bring Me the Horizon's part, and I don't know why
Right.
he needed to be involved with it. But calling a lot of that metal, or like a metal album, or like a rock album, really bothered me as someone who can be a little gatekeepy about genres sometimes.
It bothers me like Lil Wayne did a rock album.
Yeah, that wasn't it either.
Kid Cudi did a rock album. And
Right.
it just I hate to tell people to stay in their lane, but if you're not gonna do it justice, just stay in your lane.
I think that there's an argument to be made on the other side. It's not the way that I appreciate rock music, or metal music, and I don't know, it's hard for me to see it. So I agree with you. All right. My favorite part of Die on That Hill, trash an album or artist because you can.
So I'm not big on a lot of pop, and it might give me a lot of hate.
Let's go, let's go.
But Taylor Swift.
Oh shit, the Swifties. You're gonna have the Swifties cancel my show after the first fucking episode? You had to pick Taylor Swift. The two things I was hoping you weren't gonna say, Taylor Swift or anything K-pop, and what did you do?
It's just not my thing.
Oh.
It's fine if it's your thing. I'm a self-proclaimed lover of ugly music, and I just can't do most pop. I just can't. It's overrated.
It's like when I first heard Taylor Swift, I was like, oh, she'll be gone in a couple of years. We'll never hear from her again. And then I was so wrong. And I was so sad to be wrong about that.
So when you
Just not my thing.
first heard Taylor Swift, was that in her country era?
Yes.
And you thought that
And
that
at
was
the time I was very anti-country because
Okay.
of where country was at the time.
So you can admit that there may be some pre-existing biases there because
Maybe, yeah.
you were. 'Cause
But
you had
also, like,
disdain
I'm
for
not gonna
country.
lie, I really don't listen to the radio because I cannot stand most pop. It's so
agree.
disingenuous
I
to me
agree.
to listen to music that was written by some corporate team of writers. It's
I
gross.
agree.
I don't know. It's not my thing.
So McBreth says, I agree with him. She's overrated for sure. Josh says, hot take, Taylor isn't big because of her music. She's big because of her marketability.
Yeah.
I can agree with that. She's very relatable to the demographic that she's popular with, and those are the bitches to be in with. Those are the bitches that are ruling the world right now. So I can't disagree with you. It's your hill to die on. I will say that she is in fact a musician. So I think in terms of dying on a hill, it's not only is she a musician, but she is a performer. She works very hard, where I think that there are a lot of famous pop artists that do a lot less than her and that aren't as deserving of
For sure. I've
recognition.
seen some of her live bits pop through on my TikTok, and I will give it to her that she is definitely a performer.
She
But the music is just not. It's not for me.
And I get that, and I can agree with that. I'm also not like a huge Taylor Swift fan in terms of like I'm not putting on her music on purpose to listen to it. I'm not like I'm shutting it off, but I used to watch The Voice from time to time, and you know there's a lot of fucking schmucks that come on The Voice that have no idea what the fuck they're talking about, and she came on as a guest artist for like several weeks in one of the seasons, and she provided a lot of really valuable performance insight for upcoming vocalists. She's also not like a super like technical or amazing vocalist when you think about like Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, Christina Aguilera, like these vocal gymnasts. Taylor Swift is really not that, all of that. But, or Beyonce, I guess would be a better comparison because it's now. But she gets on fucking stage and she shakes her little white ass and she fucking sells out arenas. But she works. She does work, and she might not be the most like pronounced musician, but she is a really great performer. So I don't hate her that much. So but I don't love her enough to push back on your hill death that you're having right now. So I can respect it.
I'm surely dead too.
Oh,
I'm
there's
up against an army.
Swifties. There's a grassy knoll situation happening right now. Kelly Quinn is a Taylor Swift of the hardcore scene. She capitalized on her marketing because she's a great businesswoman. Yeah, and like, yeah, she knew people, you know. But your hill, you're dead. The last section, real last section, is the questions. So, this is the first time that I'm officially asking this, but the question is a question that I came up with my best friend. You have to try to think about it as objectively as you possibly can. Of course, there are subjective elements to it. The question in itself is, what do you think we could all agree is the greatest rock and roll song of all time? Keeping in mind that I would be asking non-musicians, musicians, music enthusiasts, people that don't really give a shit about music that much, what would be a good representation of rock and roll? What would people agree across all of those levels is a good representation of it, even if it was by like a hair and I was just taking a poll from dozens of people.
It was really hard to answer this question.
I know.
But Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen.
Okay. Really solid answer. So you're officially the first person to answer on record, and we're going to start a leaderboard after this, and I will be sharing the results at least after the first season of guests. And we can go from there. But I think personally, I will just say that I always imagined that that song would be in the top 3. I think it will
It's
be.
just as a pure rock song, it's got everything.
I
Got
think
everything I need.
I think you're on the right track. Do you have any justifications that you want to provide for that?
Just as like as rock and roll, just in its purest form. It's got the vocals that I need. It's got those guitar parts. It's got it's got those switch ups where I don't know.
It's
Where
got
a lot of songs
it's got
yeah,
dynamic changes. It's just like I was talking about before. It goes from that really sweet, dialed back, like stripped back, just piano and vocal, and transforms into varying degrees of intensity. I'm interested to hear what your thoughts are on what needs to be in a rock and roll song.
I guess you gotta have obviously the vocals,
Right.
and then you gotta have some good solos, some good guitar
Period.
solos, for sure.
I agree. Okay.
I think those are, for me, the two most important aspects.
Just as a palate cleanser for that awful question I just asked you, your subjective personal favorite rock and roll songs that represent rock and roll as a genre, you can have a top 3.
Okay. Ace of Spades. By
Yes!
Motorhead.
Let's go!
I Believe in a Thing Called Love.
Oh!
And another Queen. I love Queen. It's gonna be Killer Queen for me.
Great song. As a non-musician, you're getting a top 3 here. Favorite artists or musicians of all time.
For me, it's gonna be Bright Eyes, Charlie Crockett, Kanye West.
Whoa! Didn't make best hip hop artist of all time, but made top 3. You know, I'm going to give you the option here. If you want to speak on any of these, if you want to defend any of your choices, you can feel free. If you just want to drop the mic and move on, we can do that as well.
For Bright Eyes, it's definitely about the songwriting abilities.
Okay.
Charlie Crockett is versatility. And then Kanye West is just hits. Hits after hits.
Okay. Is there an era of Kanye West after which you stopped being so involved?
Definitely current Kanye West is a little bit not my bag, but
okay, fair enough. That's a safe answer.
I loved the first 2 albums. Loved The Life of Pablo. But after that, I love Kids See Ghosts. But where he's at now in life, it's not really.
Right, I get it.
It's not a good look.
Yeah, I think he became a little unrelatable after a while, you know. I think he just lost touch a little bit, but
For sure.
still goated in certain areas, in certain eras.
It's definitely one of those separating the art from the artist situations.
Yeah, and sometimes I do. There's a time and a place for that type of behavior. I see the chat is also saying you came out of left field with Kanye West.
I did. I will say that like my tastes are eclectic and ever changing. I have a new favorite band constantly.
Yeah, and
it's
as
really
you should.
hard to come up with a top 3. I need like a top 10.
I know, and I get it, and I hope when we have more conversations it will change, because it will make for such an interesting conversation as to why.
2 years ago, I would have never given you a single country artist
Right.
as a favorite.
Right.
And now, like I'm in my Spotify Wrapped. I'm in the top 0.005% of Charlie Crockett listeners.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, now you're
Like-
Charlie Crocketing all over our asses out here. We're getting to the end here. Do you have a favorite song?
I guess right now it's probably Fraulein by Coulter Wall and Tyler Childers.
Is it speaking to something in your life, or just like it's just hitting the
Yeah,
spot?
it just hits that spot.
Do you have a guilty pleasure song?
I really like jungle music.
Oh shit!
Um, there's somebody recently that I've been listening to. Piri.
Okay, yep.
And Tommy. I run a little cafe kitchen. Some mornings I just feeling that. Most mornings
Love that.
country music, because a lot of my customer base is farmers and ranchers and people over the age of 60. So I try to play music that I think that they'll tolerate and that I like.
Love it. You have
Can't
to
do that
be,
with hardcore or hip hop.
You know, that's frontman shit right there. That's crowd
Right.
control. You know, that's reading the room, brother.
I get people all day. These old folks pop their head in the kitchen and like, what radio station is this?
Yes.
I'm like, "Oh, no.
How good does that
This
feel?
is-
How
this is
fucking
my
good does that
playlist.
feel when you're playing
I
something?
love it. I'm
and
like,
people
this is
are
my
like,
Spotify playlist,
and you're like,
they're like,
I actually
I don't know
curated
what that
this
is.
myself.
yeah,
Period.
love it.
I
And it
love that
happens,
too.
I would say, weekly, if not almost daily. Somebody will pop their head in the kitchen and be like, nice music today. I'm
Hell
like, yeah, I
And you're
know,
like, you're welcome.
for sure.
Lastly, before our closer, your favorite underrated artist.
I don't know. I don't know if I have a favorite underrated.
You're a
They're all
punk guy, so
underrated.
they're all underrated, really.
Yeah, they're all underrated. Like hardcore as a genre. Like, I wish more people listened to it. I know it's not for everybody. It's very aggressive.
Right.
I love Soul Glow. If I could get every punk fan to listen to that.
So this brings me to my last point, which I know you've brought something for me. So I asked you if you wanted to bring me a song that you think I've never heard before and do a live react.
And I came to 3 songs, and I'm trying to decide.
Okay.
I know you've heard Tyler Childers.
I have heard Tyler Childers.
Have you heard Long Violent History by Tyler Childers?
No.
All right, I think that'll be it.
That's it?
That's
All
it.
right. Chat, has anybody heard Long Violent History? That sounds like my
Song
childhood. Just kidding.
Came out 2020, post riots in the summer after George Floyd. It's got a very punk energy to it, in my opinion. It's speaking to white America, and it's saying, look, these people have a right to be angry. Don't you remember when it was us? Yep.
It's the worst that it's been since the last time it happened. It's happening again right in front of our eyes. Just updated footage, wild speculation, tall tales and hearsay and absolute lies. That be the start of a long violent history of tucking our tails as we tried to abide. Or would that be the start of a long violent history of tucking our tails as we tried to abide?
Period. Fucking period, dude.
Like that song, the album that song is from is a straight up instrumental fiddle song album. He's just playing fiddle for like 10 straight tracks, and then he ends it with that. And it just
Dude,
chef's kiss.
chef's fucking kiss and the right message to be sending right
For
now.
sure.
Snaps.
Like I said,
Snaps.
it's
Punk.
it's
It's punk.
that message.
Period. Dude, I am so happy and thank you so fucking much for being my first guest. This was everything I could have ever hoped it could be. I am so glad we got to do this. You have been the perfect first guest for me. We got to dive into all of the great things that I wanted to.
Thank you for having me. Like, this is what it's about for me. If I were to ever do a stream, it's probably what I would lean towards, is just talking about music, just reviewing things, reacting to things. I just love talking about music, and thank you for having me on.
Absolutely, and I agree with you. And you know, I would love to do more in the future of like talking about new music and sharing things. And you definitely showed me some new punk, and I didn't realize
I'm gonna shoot you my pop punk playlist.
Please do.
There's
Drop
some
it
good
in the
shit on
Discord. Drop it in the Discord.
Will do.
We have a music sharing section now, thanks to McBreath, and we have been doing that. So I found so much value in this, and when this came up in Madame's stream, it felt so natural to do it, and I'm so happy with the way that it went, and thank you for taking the time to answer my questions and look into it and send me some cool music to listen to. I appreciate the time that you took. I know that it's not just like, oh, you just like showed up and sat here and answered questions. I know that you put some thought into it, and I really truly appreciate that. So thank you so much for being my first guest and being a great guest in general.
Thank you for having me. And I loved, like, since you asked me, I've thought about it, if not every day, almost every day, what I wanted to talk about. And I actually only sat down last night and wrote out all my answers. I've just been thinking on it for like a month.
And that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
I wanted people that love and appreciate music to get your gears turning a little bit more about what it is that you're experiencing, because somehow we're all fucking connected. Like I said, if we're both at the same show and we're standing next to each other screaming the same lyrics for two different fucking reasons, at that moment, you're my brother, dude. And like I would die for you in that moment. And I just really want to highlight that and how important it is for us, and something that like we enjoy in the moment, but we don't always let that translate outside of that, you know. And I'm trying to bring that together here, because you can see people in my chat going, oh, I remember that band, or yeah, it does sound like this, or reminding us of other things too. And it's how we like all are connected. So this was so great. It was just so perfect. So thank you so much. And we will definitely be doing this again if you're open to it in the future.
For sure. Absolutely.
All right, well, I hope you have a great night. Chat, say goodbye to DEI0NSANDALS, my first guest on Fuck, Marry Music. Thank you, DEI0NSANDALS. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye, my friend.
Y'all have a good night.
You too.
Y'all come back now, you hear?
Y'all come back now. Chat, what just happened? Did we just have the best time ever? I feel like I did. Yes, I am doing this again. Guess what, chat? Guess what, chat? You know when I'm doing this again? I'm doing this again next motherfucking Tuesday with guess who? Miss Snobby Mommy, Snowmonk1337, her fucking self, Ashton, is gonna be my second guest on FMM. Feel free to jump in Discord, you know, let me know if there's anything that you guys want us to talk about. It will be an entirely different experience, which is the whole point of this. The whole point of the series is to talk about how different everyone's experience is with listening to music, and I'm here for it, and I love it. I love it. I'm like a little fucking spy in every realm of music, because I just enjoy the different experiences so much. I don't want to miss out. You know, if somebody out there is having a good time with music, I want to have it too. I don't give a fuck what genre it is. Just let us know if there's something you want us to talk about. Yeah, I'm a fucking nerd. Fuck you.
What are you doing?
Oh God, he's here. Jiners is here.
My name is Jenna, I'm 30, I like to walk my hamster on a leash, and I have a basketball game tomorrow.
Hey, Chet.
Everyone, say thank you to Jinus.
You're welcome.
And again, if you had a good time tonight, if you don't want to deal with him tomorrow, I totally understand. You know, you can just wait till next Tuesday and
Whatever.
hang out with me and Snow.
Whatever. You know what? I'm going home.
Yeah, go home.
Going home.
Bye.